Here's another question from one of our viewers who wanted to know how they could create more space under a stairway like this by removing a section of the stair stringer. So let's go ahead and jump right into this video with this particular method here. And something like this might work for a remodeling project where you have an existing stairway already and for a new stairway. So let's go ahead and take a quick tour here where we have some supporting joist along with a wall here to help support the joist, a wall here. And keep in mind that you might be able to use a combination of the items I'm suggesting in this video to make something like this work. For example, here we have this particular 2x4 joist sitting on top of the wall and attaching to this 2x4. Whereas over here, we're notching underneath the head out. And even though we would be reducing the structural strength of this joist, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. However, it could be, and if it is, then use a couple of the other methods in the video. And keep in mind that they are only suggestions. It will be up to you and your structural engineer or you and your contractor to figure out if you're going to use them. And for this 2x4 over here, we're notching the ledger. We're not going around it like we did over here. We're notching the ledger so this can have full bearing without any notches out of the joist. And even though I don't think these boards here can be smaller, you can always make them larger if you're worried about the structural integrity of something like this. Next up on the list, you could always build a box like this if you don't like the idea of having the blocks there. And I think something like this will be a little stronger also, along with the possibility of using wider lumber, maybe a 3x4 or a 4x4. If you don't have room to install a 2x6 or something taller, you might be able to go a little wider. And to help support the back side of the joist, it can sit on top of the wall. Just make sure that you have a support stud underneath it, of course. And if you need to go a little wider, then you might be able to do this. And in this example here, I am going to position this in the spot where the riser would go. And that'll make more sense here in a few seconds. And something like this will provide us with another 3/4 of an inch if we're looking for every amount of space we can possibly get in this area. And you might consider using some building hardware to connect everything together, along with some nails, and make sure that you position this board a little lower into the stringer to where you will be able to nail each board into the stringer to get a little more structural strength. Even though I doubt if this stairway is going to move after you have built it, because you're getting support from the floor, the landing, or the bottom section of the stairway. And for something like this, I'm simply going to end nail in to support these boards here. However, you can always use some building hardware if you need to and are looking for a little more strength. Next up, let's go ahead and throw the treads and risers on there. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about here, I went over 3/4 of an inch further in this direction here to get rid of the riser and give us 3/4 of an inch more space to get rid of the riser and provide us with an additional 3/4 of an inch space. And if you need more room for whatever you're doing, you might need to redesign the stairway or even create some type of a fabricated metal structural support system and get rid of the wood altogether. Last up on the list would be to prefabricate some type of a support structure, some type of a cabinet that could be designed and inserted into this space to support the stairway. However, I will not be able to provide you with any type of design for that, but can provide you with the suggestion. I'm filled with suggestions. Just won't always have all of the answers to solve your problems. However, by now you have a few more ideas and construction methods that you might be able to use to build some type of a stairway that would allow you to have additional storage underneath it.